Hi, I'm Lisa Davies. I suppose I'm an English teacher at heart. I love reading, but I really like helping students. So I'm a mum of a university student and a teenager going through GCSEs. So I do feel really, I see both sides, sort of the personal challenges students face and as well as the academic. So I suppose that's what I really enjoy about teaching. Okay, we follow the Edexcel specification, and that involves three different sort of areas of study. We study drama, prose and poetry. So in the drama course, we'll study A Streetcar Named Desire, which is a domestic tragedy set in sort of post-World War II America in the South, and lots of the challenges they face in this sort of hot one-room apartment. We also study Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, sort of the chaos of young love in an enchanted forest. Our prose texts are Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy, which explores sort of post-industrial Victorian society, sort of a young girl Tess and the challenges she faces. And we compare that with another text, A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. And that is set in sort of 1990s Afghanistan. Again, we look at under the umbrella of women in society. So I think it feels really very relevant. You sort of hear these heart-wrenching stories, and the students have really engaged with the text from those points of view. And the poetry, we do romantic poetry, which I know some students at GCSE will have touched on, things like Blake, Keats, Wordsworth, Byron, Shelley. And we also do, very similar to the students study at GCSE, so we do a modern anthology of 21st century poems, poems of the decade, and we compare that with an unseen. So students will be quite familiar with that, but the students always engage with the poems of the decade because they're kind of quirky and interesting and again, very relevant. Yeah, we've had speakers from the University of Hull, so I'm in contact with their departments there and they've offered to come in and, so for example, I've asked them for the next coming year, would they come in and have a chat with the students on the poems of the decade topics and sort of just another fresh voice. There is Midsummer Night's Dream at the Globe at the moment, and that goes right until October, so I'm hopefully, fingers crossed, organising a trip there. English literature is a facilitating subject. The Russell Group universities sort of recognise that. It's obviously a must for English degrees, but then there are lots of other degrees that quite often would ask for English literature, so things like drama, media, law, also some other subjects like classics, languages. You learn so many useful skills with literature, so there's so many transferable skills. So the careers are really open. So a good friend of mine did an English literature degree and now she's an inspector in the police, studying all sorts, dealing with all sorts of crimes. But there's some obvious, like, you know, teaching, journalism, publishing. There's all sorts of careers open. You can hand that preparation work to me when you come back, that would be fantastic. And it's one of the poems from the Poems of the Decade collection called The Lammas Hiling. And I totally appreciate that this year's been a crazy year. For some students, their poetry analysis, you know, might have been put on the back burner and haven't done it for a while. So the resources, there's a video to watch, there's a link so you can watch a YouTube video of another member of staff annotating the poem, so no one should feel like they're struggling to look at that poem. And all I'm interested in is to look find a little bit about you and your writing style and your sort of creative approach. So nothing to be scared of.